Please be aware that the following podcast may contain adult themes and adult language. Also, this is just for fun, and these are just our opinions. We're not experts, just really, really emotionally invested.
รายการต่อไปนี้
Da 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 da. It's another episode with Jeannie.
I love that. Why didn't we make that whole thing from the beginning? That's so good.
I don't know where that came from. Fuck it, that's the intro.
That's it.
All right.
Welcome back.
Hello. I'm G.
And I'm E. Welcome back to That's Such BL. Finally, we've had some... Well, I say we. It's totally been me that's been causing this delay. Just a myriad of things.
Mayhem.
Yeah, going totally wrong in my personal life. I'm fine. I'm happy. I'm healthy. But, you know.
So it is December 2020. Getting to the end of this awful year.
Thank fuck, may I say.
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of terrifying to me that a year has gone already. But,
yeah,
like, I don't really mind because I just want to, you know, get on with it. Let's go into next year.
Right.
Hopefully a little bit better than we did this year.
Ready to move on.
Yeah. So, a lot has happened. We've just been talking earlier about how everything seems to be coming out right now in terms of Thai BL. All BL, basically.
Yeah.
Everything's coming out November, December.
We've got a really packed schedule of things to watch, and I'm struggling to keep up with everything, to be honest.
Fully. Well, first thing I want to talk about is the end of Oxygen. That series has come to an end now. Oh, my baby. I feel like I've been with Oxygen since it was announced, and I had no idea what it was, but it sounded really cool. I haven't read it. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't really read BLs. But yeah, it was one that I've been excited for a long time, and now it's finished. If you've been following our stories, you know that I've been posting about it quite a lot. And very quickly, I just think it was very sweet. I wasn't so sure about the last episode. I think it kind of suffered from last episode syndrome, like some series do. I feel like it maybe wanted to explore a bit more but didn't have enough time. So I think it could have gone on for another episode or maybe two. Like, the last episode just felt kind of rushed. But I get that. I get that they had a lot of loose ends to tie very quickly. So I kind of forgive them for that. Hopefully they will announce that they're going to do the next season, which will be the side couples season, if we're going off the books. It's either nitrogen or hydrogen. I can't remember.
That's really fun.
I think it's nitrogen.
I love that naming.
Because there's like loads of books. There's like 4 or 5.
Oh, wow. That is quite a lot.
Yeah.
For like one.
And each one explores the different couples. I really hope they announce that because they did a really good job. And I think it did very well. It got a lot of interest.
I would be surprised then if they didn't
Exactly.
follow it on.
Exactly. So we've been following Manor of Death.
Yes.
We're recording this as the 4th episode has come out for VIP users.
Yes.
So we're both Wii TV VIPs, obviously.
Where's that sponsorship? Please, Wii TV, please. We are both paying you.
So we just watched the 4th episode and, opinions?
Well, I'm really enjoying it. It's definitely really different tonally to your typical Thai BL. So if you have seen mainly kind of like rom-coms and fun stuff, even the other stuff that Max Tull are in, this is different. You'll enjoy it, I think. It's got a darker, more adult... There's some of the themes in it are quite distressing, so be aware of that if you've not watched it yet. But
it's definitely an 18 plus.
Yeah, for sure.
Or it's meant to be. I know that a lot of you teeny boppers are going to watch it anyway.
Teeny boppers. Just alienate all our Gen Z audience are just like turning this off now. Yeah, so I'm really enjoying it. We're finding it really fun. still we were saying this earlier, a bit too early to know whether or not the storyline that they seem to be setting up and the mystery that they're setting up is going to be super predictable or really complex and interesting, because it has the potential to go both ways. I am hoping that it's going to be a really good, interesting payoff, because there are things that we haven't worked out yet. We were doing some...
Well, I messaged T. I just messaged her. I was like, are you up to date with Manner of Death? Because I'm half thinking that this is going to end up being like a Hot Fuzz situation. Where the whole village is just in on it.
The great are good. Yeah. Really not sure who the bad and good people are.
Not yet.
No, we can't tell. Don't know if Max is going to be good or bad. He's definitely doing some sneaky shit on the sidelines.
He's being shady. He's being sus, sis.
He's being sus, sis. But is he being sus for good reasons, or is he being sus for nefarious purposes? We don't know. Which is interesting. It's really interesting. So if you like murder mysteries, if you like Max Tull, as we've said on the podcast before, Max Tull sexy.
Max Tull sexy.
And Max Tull definitely still sexy in this. I would love to know who everyone, if you're listening and you've been watching Manor of Death, please message us and tell us who you think is suspicious or not. Because
if you know who it was, do not tell us.
Yeah, if you've read it and you know, don't spoil it. But like,
because I've seen a lot of like people post, not spoilers, but they've posted stuff like, oh, people who haven't read the novel and don't know who the killer is, and I'm like, yeah,
don't tell us.
Yeah,
obviously. So I would love to hear what people's theories are, because this morning we just discussed, we have like a list of people who are like, they're sus. I
take murder mysteries very seriously. Like, if I'm gonna sit down and watch one, you better believe I'm taking notes.
Right.
I'm like rewatching scenes. Like,
I'm
gonna figure this out. I'm gonna figure it out. Not yet, because it's still early days. But I will figure it out.
You're on the case. You're on the case.
Detective G.
I love it.
Very, very recent news.
Yeah.
You'll Never Eat Alone. Which I'm not going to be able to say with a straight face, because it's just too similar to You'll Never Walk Alone.
Yeah.
So every time I say that out loud, I'm going to have that song playing in my head. But yes, You'll Never Eat Alone trailer dropped. I'm very excited.
Oh,
I had no idea on what kind of scale this was going to be, but it looks like an absolute delight.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really fun. So I just saw the trailer this morning, and I had to we couldn't find a version with English subtitles, so I've just got like the raw Thai. Like, I'm not entirely 100% sure what happened. It looks like it's going to be really nice. There are so many people in it. It's a real ensemble.
Is it just cameos, or are they actual full-fledged kind of side couples? Not sure yet. I hope. It looks like Bun and Prem might be a side couple, because they had a little bit more in the trailer.
Yeah.
I think the others might just be kind of like cameos here and there, which I'm fine with.
That's okay. I mean, I'm so happy to see Z in a new series, because I thought he was really good in Why Are You, and I thought his chemistry with Saint was brilliant, but like I know that Saint is maybe not gonna retire from BL, or, you know, so...
Retire.
Yeah, quote unquote. Yeah. We're doing air quotes right now. But I was really happy to see him with someone else and have an opportunity to, like, build another working relationship in that way. And I just think it's going to be really good. I'm really looking forward to it. And the thing that's really stood out to me from the trailer, because it flashes up, it's like 3 seconds, and then it's not even 3 seconds. We had to slow it down on YouTube to catch it. I'm not going to give too much away, because I want you to have a raw reaction to it like I did. Jimmy and Tommy make an appearance. My only comment is, what the fuck?
I like who you compared them to.
Oh, what, they're doing like a Post Malone cosplay. Like, I mean, they're not actually, but, and also they look like they've been not kidnapped.
They look like they're in a bin bag or something.
Yeah,
why are they in a bin bag? Why do they look like Post Malone? Who knows?
Who knows? I can't wait to find out. But it's gonna be
But that's an example of doing a trailer right.
Yeah.
Just showing some madness for 2 seconds and not explaining it. Brilliant.
Right. Like, you have to watch it to find out.
Yeah.
For the hot topic for today, I did initially pitch you something completely different about translation, and I still want to talk about that at some point. But we finished the drama. It's a web series from the Philippines. It's just recently, like end of November, it finished. Called Like in the Movies. I think the other title is Gaya Sa Pelikula. That's definitely pronounced incorrectly, but the English title of it is Like in the Movies. And I was like so moved by it that I was like, I have to talk about this with you tomorrow because it's just so good. So the theme of the hot topic is about having an LGBT cast, crew, and like production writing team in BL dramas, and whether or not that is necessary and whether or not it makes it good or bad. So let me give you a bit of context. If you haven't seen Like in the Movies, it's all on YouTube. It has English subs. It was released by officially by the people who made it. It's brilliant. I think probably a lot of people have seen it. It's got like over 1 million views on each video, but it is one of the best BL series I've seen. It's pretty short. It's only 8 episodes. They're only about half an hour long each. The story is so good. So we've talked about this before. I am not a straight person. And obviously neither is my female fiance. And we could almost immediately tell that this series we were instantly like, this has to have been written by a gay person. Like 100% the person who wrote this or people who were directly involved in this is LGBT, because something about it was just extremely authentic. The tone of it was very, very specific. Like, I just really, really liked it. So what I was thinking, I have a couple of questions prepared. Annoyingly, I can't...
For me?
For us to discuss.
Oh, okay.
Annoyingly, I can't talk too much about the show, what happens in the show specifically, because I don't want to spoil it for you, and I don't want to spoil it for any listeners. But I think that we can have a discussion about whether or not about kind of like having LGBT cast, crew, writers, producers, directors directly involved in BL dramas, whether or not that is necessary, if it's better, if it's good. Like there is a conversation to be had here, because in this series it felt like it was such a strong selling point for it. Like it made it so much better for me. Okay, so first question, and I don't think there are any right or wrong answers, and I have views on it as well. So do you think you can tell when a drama is written or acted in by an LGBTQ person, specifically BL dramas, but I am interested to know if you think like across the board, particularly if they're playing like a gay character, or if it's like a BL narrative?
I don't think I can necessarily tell if it's made by LGBT, like, because I'm not 100% sure on who exactly is LGBT,
right?
Unless they specifically state it, like Coolheart and Fluke, like they're out and open about it, but not everyone is. So
that's a very good point.
I know when things have been directed by the same director because they have similar styles. However, I don't know if that director is openly LGBT or if they're not, and I don't want to assume. So I can't. Yeah, I don't really. In terms of acting, I think it's very obvious that usually the main couple are straight actors.
Yeah,
and that just comes with the territory. As you've kind of touched on before in past episodes, that comes with the territory of making content for fujoshis and for yaoi as well. Like,
yeah,
you're going to be looking at mostly straight male actors acting straight in a series, but actually they're...
It's a gay relationship, but it's straight acting. Yeah, totally.
As I said, like, when you get openly gay actors like Coolheart and Fluke, it's refreshing. It does feel more genuine. A series doesn't necessarily need to have that strong, straight, masculine feel,
right?
Of like two very clearly hetero actors,
right?
I think that's why there's such a movement for Fluke and Coolheart to kind of have their own series as a couple.
That would be super interesting.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who want that, and I don't know if that will happen, because I think the companies might have this idea of, oh, that won't be as popular because they're both openly gay actors, if you know what I mean. And our audience would much rather prefer masculine, kind of straight-seeming characters. But I think that's quite outdated now. I think there is actually a very big audience for something like that to happen, and there are a lot of people requesting it. So I think having more LGBT actors for the love interests, as opposed to being comedic relief, is great. Because there are very clearly trans people and queer people in series, quite a lot, but they are there for comic relief or as just kind of a one scene character.
Right.
And I think openly queer and gay actors should get the chance to be the love interests more.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you said. It's like I think that you're right. It is. I found it refreshing in this series to have. Well, the interesting thing is that this director, and I'll talk about it a bit more. The person who wrote and directed it deliberately wanted to cast LGBT actors in this show, and I feel like that brought something to it. But they weren't necessarily like... They were both quite... Not straight acting is the wrong word, because I didn't feel like that's part of the authenticity. I didn't feel like that was what they were doing. But they were both quite, like, masculine, like, not particularly, like, campy personalities or in the way they looked either. The main thing that stood out was, like, the writing of it was very obviously done by somebody who wasn't writing to stereotypes or tropes. It was like a gay person writing their experience as a gay person for other gay people, and that really felt like it was just a really strong vibe for it. It's very true, particularly in this industry, that even though some of it might be quite accepting or it might seem quite liberal and open, that it can jeopardise a lot of people's careers to be out. I mean, if we think even about... Mew has been very lucky, but his quite public disagreement with a former co-star and him being outed, essentially, like, that could have gone a very different way, even in the industry that he's in the genre that he acts in. So I'm aware as well that, like, not everybody has the privilege or the security of being like out and proud in the industry they're in, and that means that there might actually be quite a few people, actors, writers, directors, who are LGBT, who we wouldn't know that they're LGBT as, like, common knowledge.
Right.
So it's difficult to be like, oh, well, more queer shows should be written and starred in by queer people. That might already be happening, and they just don't have the benefit of being out. So it is tricky. But I did feel as well like the benefit of this show was, like, there was So this show was definitely, when we were researching it, my first instinct was like, this is written by a gay person for sure. And looked it up, and the guy who wrote and directed it, Juan Miguel Severo, again, really sorry if I've said that wrong, he's a writer and a spoken word poet, and an actor as well, I think, and from the Philippines, and he's openly gay, and the whole intention with this show was like, I'm going to write a queer story about queer people, it's by me, a queer person, and it's for other queer people as well. And let me just read you like a comment from one of the things that he said. So he says, I'm writing a romantic comedy between gay characters because the LGBT community needs more representation in the media. And also that he wanted to, it was a good time to hear stories that normalise queer love. And he says, I, the series creator and writer, am a gay man. We're hiring gay actors. My core team is composed of members of the LGBT community and or our allies. So yes, this is our story to tell. And he said, if one queer kid watches the series and becomes unashamed for who they love, then we'll have done our job. So the other thing I read as well, it was a quote that it was something that he tweeted, that obviously not everyone who's going to be involved in it is going to be LGBT, but he said to ensure the level of sensitivity deemed necessary for the material, he advocated that the main artistic team and the cast of the series be actual members of the LGBTQ community, and that they went through, that the artistic team also went through a workshop on sexual orientation, gender identity and expression to ensure that everyone's on the same page and to avoid potential incidents in which the team behind the series ended up offending its audience and the community it wished to serve. So that in itself was interesting, because maybe you've got a cast and crew of people who could be in their private lives LGBT but not able to be out. This guy obviously is really deliberately casting people who he knows are LGBT, but that addition of providing sensitivity training for the production team, even people who are already LGBT themselves, I think made a massive difference. I mean, like, what do you think? I know there's like tons of thoughts there, but do you think that if, for example, with some of the more mainstream Thai BLs, or I'm saying Thai BL, but BLs from any country, do you think that they would like benefit from the cast and crew having it's kind of more information, like more training? Or do you know what I mean? Like, it feels like if that was more present in the creative process, a lot of the things that people criticise BLs for would be smoothed out. I think a lot of storylines would be handled more sensitively. What do you think?
I think definitely when you're taking a novel or a written story and adapting it for the screen, that in itself needs to be looked at with more care.
Yes.
I mean, the whole topic of BLs, why they're written, who they're written for, is a bit of a grey area, because when you're taking the written version, which are usually written by straight females, as you've touched on before, and adapting it for the screen, that kind of sensitivity training would be beneficial. Like, when you're translating it to be an adaptation, what do you want to do with it? Do you want to keep it as it is, which is probably very veered towards straight females, or do you want to make it into a more LGBT friendly story? I think that's where the work needs to begin. You can look at hiring LGBT people, actors, having that knowledge like further down the line. Where it starts is translating it from the written story to the screen, like the actual script. Like, for instance, with Mame's work, especially with Tarn Type, obviously she wrote the original source material and she also wrote the script for the series. Therefore, whatever changes she's made, it's still from her perspective. And I'm not saying Mame isn't like queer or LGBT or even an ally.
Right.
We don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what she is. What I'm saying is what she has written is very much for that straight female audience, like Fujoshi audience.
Yeah.
That BLs are usually written for. And therefore, has it been adapted to a screen script with more care for the LGBT side? Probably not. It's probably still going to be very
like tropey
very
and stereotypical.
Very tropey and stereotypical. So I think it does very much need to begin with how you're going to translate it onto screen.
That's such a good point. And I think the thing that's difficult about representation is a difficult one, because I feel like visibility alone, like even if you get out, even if it's not even a very good portrayal, just seeing gay people on screen is quite an important thing as well. I'm interested to know what you think, whether it's more important that there is just more visibility. Like, I know a lot of people, maybe they're particularly people who follow us who are maybe a bit younger, their first introduction to gay media has been like Type BL series. So maybe it's not like out the gate the like most accurate representation of what real life LGBT people are like. But I know that many of these people are, particularly people who follow us, very fierce advocates for the LGBT community, whether or not they're in it, from a much younger age than I was. And that's just because they've seen these couples and feel strongly about the stories. And even if it's not like, this is what a real gay person is like, or what most gay people are like, it's enough that it has been good representation in that it has created really fierce, protective, active allies. And part of me feels like that in itself is good. But then also, as a queer person, watching this series, finishing this series yesterday, there was something so affirming about watching a show that was obviously made for people, maybe not specifically for me, but like for people like me. And I feel like that would also still have a really good impact. It's so tricky. When we were growing up, I had to scour the internet for like gay stuff, and definitely could barely see. I think maybe the first live action LGBT thing that I saw was like Brokeback Mountain. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yeah, that was a big deal when that came out.
Yeah, so like, and then, but there weren't like necessarily sitcoms or like age appropriate things for me to watch with LGBT people in that were easy to find. And part of me just thinks that like the volume of it is good. The fact that it's, even if it's like a money-making industry and like that's the reason why lots are being made, it means that tons of people are seeing it and can access it easily and are getting loads of different stories, and that in itself is a good thing. Part of the difficulty of representation is like you want to get to a point where it doesn't matter, but we're still at a point where it kind of does. Like, it really, really makes a difference. Finding out that the cast and crew of this, particularly the lead actors who I felt so like attached to by the end of the series, finding out that them and the guy who wrote it and a lot of the cast and crew were LGBT felt like a really nice thing to me. I was like, I'm really happy that this story was told by these people, and it shouldn't matter, but to me it still does. And like, for like finding out that Mew was, because like some people could write off Tarn Type as being like a really, I mean, it's not a perfect story, but like a story that was just made for straight women, because it's like very like hypersexual in places and it's all about them, you know,
they're two masculine men,
exactly.
You know?
And then finding out that Mew, I mean, not through great means, but like finding out that he was LGBT really made a difference in how I felt about it. I really felt more connected to it. I want to see him succeed. So part of me is like, I think it's okay to not speculate, but like I think it's okay to be curious about that. I think it's okay to want the people in your LGBT stories to be played by LGBT people, because
fully,
yeah.
No, your point is we should have more LGBT in our LGBT.
Yeah, that's my point. And please watch Like in the Movies, because it was so good. It's really funny. It's a short series. You'll really enjoy it if you like TBL. It's actually, I think, produced, or there was some collaboration with Tay, New, Off and Gun. They're all credited as people who were involved in the series, and I just thought it was brilliant. It was super authentic. It was really funny and fun to watch. It was like so sharply written, and the acting was great, and it was just so good. So watch it and let us know what you think. I've kind of gone all over the place with my thoughts, but I really enjoyed it, and I feel like more things should aim to do what it did, but in their own way.
And let's have a Fluke Earth series.
Yes, and that's our other point. Fluke Earth. We want to see...
Wabi Sabi, if you're listening, which we know you are.
Yeah, Wabi Sabi.
Give us an Earth Fluke series.
Don't make us write it ourselves.
Oh, can you imagine? That's what we should write.
That's, yeah.
An Earth Fluke series.
We could do that. Let's do it.
Just a couple of bottoms.
That's what it's going to be called. After we've just had this long discussion about how being deeply sensitive, and we're just going to make a series called Just a Couple of Bottoms. Oh my god.
I think they have actually talked about this at a fan meeting once. It was kind of brought up that what if they were coupled together, and they were just kind of discussing that Earth would probably be the top. And
interesting.
And they were like fully playing along with it. Earth was like, "Oh, I would take my job as the top very seriously. I'm flattered." So, I'm sure there's a video that exists out there of that interview. It's very funny.
That's so fun. I would love to see it. Wabi Sabi, please make it happen.
You have an audience
for
it. You have an audience for it. Like, trust me.
Yeah.
You have people who want to see this.
You will make your money back.
And then some.
And then some. For sure.
We have a bit of a different game for you today because, unfortunately, we can't have T with us today. She's an actual adult with a job, so...
we have jobs. But
just about.
Yeah. Barely.
So it's just going to be us two. We thought we'd do... just a silly little idea we came up with.
Like a quick fire.
Yeah. We really enjoyed recasting The Untamed, so we thought we'd do kind of a shorter, sillier version of that. I've just pulled up a random list. It's from Oprah magazine.
Very...
Shout out.
Shout out to Oprah. Oprah, if you're listening, thanks for the list.
It is the top iconic movie couples who made us believe in love.
Oh.
So this will be Western media, obviously.
And we're just gonna, with no thought whatsoever, say the first people who come to mind to cast it, and should we give it an explanation or just...
Maybe an initial explanation.
Okay.
Just kind of like a why you think you initially thought of that.
Okay. But keep it to like under 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I think we can do this.
They're going to be fast-paced pitches for who we think our iconic movie couples should be.
Yes.
Alright, so first couple.
Okay.
Maria and Tony, West Side Story. I have a couple.
Got it. I've got a couple as well.
Who,
I've got it.
Do you want to say?
Yeah. Saint and Z.
Who's who?
Saint's going to be Maria and Z is going to be Tony.
Oh god!
That's not bad, right?
I like that. I was going to say Bright and Win.
Oh, Bright and Win would be good too, but which way round?
Win is Maria, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
Did you think Bright was going to be Maria?
No, Bright would be a weird choice for Maria.
I thought that because they can both sing, and it's a musical.
I was literally not even thinking about the singing.
This is what you need to think about. Come on, if we're gonna write a hit BL series.
Okay, fair enough. What I was thinking was like, I think that Saint could do the like the sweetness, but also like Maria's got a bit of a personality as well. She's not just like a wet blanket. She's quite like a he could handle the intensity of her, but also the cuteness and the I feel pretty. He could totally do that, and then Z would just be like.
Imagine
handsome man Tony.
Imagine Win singing. I feel pretty.
That would be so fun and cute. Okay. Yeah, I can totally see both of them. I think we both casted well.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay,
Go for it.
Baby and Johnny, Dirty Dancing. So, I need an actor who's quite a bit older. So here I would choose. Oh, but they need to dance. Who can dance? Pavel. I choose Pavel.
Pavel's quite young though.
He can do older. He can play older.
Okay.
Pavel, and who's Baby? Baby.
I've got one. Big Earth and New.
New?
No.
You want New to be Baby?
Yeah. You could do the innocence of it, don't you think?
Nobody puts New in the corner.
Nobody puts Newwiee in a corner. He's maybe he's a bit too like broad. I don't think they might struggle with the lift because New is actually like pretty bulky now.
I didn't even think about the lift.
The lift is important, so maybe I'm gonna.
Who can Pavel lift? Oh no.
He could lift a few people actually because he's pretty hench. He's
pretty hench.
Benching all the time.
He has a good chemistry with one of the other 2 Moons 2 guys. Who did he strip dance to?
Oh,
you know, in that video.
Yeah.
Who was in the chair? Juna's Baby.
That's inspired. I'm not even gonna.
Purely based on that lap dancing video.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. Well,
if that's not Dirty Dancing just contained in that video, then I don't know what is.
Literally. That was very good. And that is definitely a better casting than New and Big Earth. I don't know. Do other people call him Big Earth? We call him Big Earth, Big Medium, and Little Earth.
I'm pretty sure that's just us.
Yeah.
But we have explained it before that we have that system.
Yeah.
We have Big Earth, Medium Earth, Little Earth. Little Earth is Cooheart, which mostly we call him Cooheart.
Yeah.
We don't call him Little Earth. That's a bit demeaning. But Medium Earth is 2 Moons 2 Earth. And
Big Earth is Waterboy Earth.
Waterboy Earth. Yes.
He's probably not only known from Waterboy.
He's in a lot.
He was also in Theory of Love.
Yeah. He's going to be in 1,000 Stars. Oh, he is a classic.
Okay.
Jack and Rose, Titanic.
Okay.
I mean, immediately.
Who are you thinking?
Off-Gun.
Yeah, I was thinking Off-Gun too!
Off-Gun.
Yes, Off-Gun. I would love to see that. I wonder if someone can do like, like the face swap thing for that iconic.
I used to have an app for that.
Well, re-download it.
No, it was awful. I had to pay for the basics. Okay, another musical.
Go for it.
Danny and Sandy, Breeze.
Oh, okay. Who can sing and dance?
I'm struggling to think of actually very capable dancers. Sorry, boys, but some of you are a bit questionable.
Just absolutely coming for their careers. Who's a good? Okay. All right.
I've decided my Sandy.
Okay, just because I've decided a Danny.
Just because I really want to see him in the final Sandy outfit.
Go for it.
Fluke.
Okay, Fluke. My Danny suggestion, Gunsmile. Because he's a really good singer. And I think he could pull off that.
Oh, no, yeah. He
could totally do that.
He can totally do a John Travolta. 100%.
Wouldn't he be good? He's just the right amount of, slightly rugged, and I think if they styled him,
kind of a little bit goofy looking, but lovable.
Right. And he's also, I don't know if you've only seen Gunsmile doing, bit roles in things, which, annoyingly, most of the roles he's had, he deserves better. He is a really good actor, actually. If you've seen him in He's Coming to Me, he shows great range, and I think he would really properly do the role justice.
Mm-hmm.
Give Gunsmile a main role.
Mm-hmm.
2K20.
We'll add it with our Earth Fluke.
Yeah, just add it to the list of demands when we.
Yeah, I'm good with that combination.
Okay, yeah, Fluke and Gunsmile.
Fluke and Gunsmile.
That could work.
Who would
Why
have thought it?
not? Why not? Why not? I've got a fun one. It's a very modern one.
Okay, good. We need more modern
Have you
ones.
seen this? To All the Boys I've Loved Before. Okay, go. Who's going to be your Lara Jean? And we need like a jock type who's got like a heart of gold and a cute, sassy, sensitive female lead. Except not obviously not female lead. Or we could push the boat out here. I think Sammy would do a great job of Lara Jean. I think she could handle that.
Well, who is she being paired with for her upcoming series? It's
Good question.
It's
I know who
the
you
other girl in
Until we meet again. Yeah.
Yeah, let's have them too. Let's have a lovely
Yeah, why not?
lesbian
She could be a
couple.
jock.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Sammy and her mate.
Sammy and her mate. I'm so sorry we don't know your name.
You're a great actress, and we're really excited to see the series you're in together.
Yeah.
But
we
I'm just
promise
not good
we'll
with
learn
names.
your name for the future.
Yeah. Future reference. Bridget Jones' Diary. Got to cast Bridget Jones
All of them.
and
All
the
of
two
them.
leads.
Yes, the classic, the original love triangle.
Yeah.
Which is based on the original love triangle.
Yes. It's
Pride
Pride
and
and Prejudice.
Yeah. Which we're both obsessed with.
We are, yeah. 2005 Pride and Prejudice in particular. Okay, so Bridget Jones.
That's the next one we can do because we have actually thought about
Yes.
who. Yeah.
Yes.
We'll do that one next. Okay.
Okay.
So Bridget Jones.
So we need somebody who here's an interesting. Could we choose somebody who's had like two on-screen partners, different
New.
on-screen partners?
New.
Okay.
So we have New, Big Earth, and then Tay.
That would really work, actually. So Tay is going to be Hugh Grant.
Yes.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I think that
I
Big
don't
Earth.
see Earth as Hugh Grant.
Yeah, Big Earth. I don't think he could. I just can't stop calling it Big Earth. Sorry, it's obvious who we're talking about in context. I think that's actually a genius.
Yeah, and New can definitely do the comedic Bridget.
Yeah, for sure.
Like New can do like comedy in his sleep.
Yeah,
So.
and Earth could do this sort of like gentleman, sort of like a little bit reserved, stilted, but charming. And Tay could totally do the like handsome Lothario
Dickhead.
bad boy
Yeah.
dickhead character. Essentially kind of what Pete is.
Oh, I'm so into this now.
Yeah.
Pride and Prejudice, talking of, we've recently discussed this in our admin chat.
Yeah.
We really want Wang Yibo and Zhao Zhan to do a Pride and Prejudice remake.
I'd love it. Now, here's the thing as well. Like, there has been... So, if I don't know if people have, like... So you can cut this out because it might not be necessary, but there's been... because there's going to be another adaptation of an MXTX novel. MXTX is the author... I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that's how I've heard people saying it. The author of... The novel that The Untamed is based on, the author of that has another BL novel that is being adapted for live action that's coming out next year. And there was some drama on Twitter recently about people being annoyed that other people had fan casted Yibo and Zhao Zhan in this new thing. I'm just going to cast them in anything. Like, they're great.
Yeah.
I know that it will be different actors, and I know the other actors are probably going to do an amazing job, but let me dream. Please. And they would be great in Pride and Prejudice.
They would. I mean, obviously, Yibo's going to be Mr. Darcy.
Of course.
And then Zhao Zhan will be Elizabeth Bennet.
Which is not a comment on, like... I hate to use this terminology when we're not talking about very specific BL stuff, but like top-bottom discourse or like gender roles. That's not the reason we've made those choices, just because their personalities would suit those
100%.
roles really well.
I mean, Yibo is Mr. Darcy.
Yeah. A skateboarding, motorcycling, breakdancing Mr. Darcy.
Lego building.
Lego building, I know. Classic Mr. Darcy activities. But otherwise is a very... I mean, it's perfect. I will accept no criticism.
There are no other possible choices.
No way. I want to get something where we can cast Kristen Singto.
High School Musical, Gabriella Troy.
Oh, well, I can't cast Kristen Singto in that. That's not going to make any sense. Okay.
They can both sing. They can both sing.
Yeah, they can both sing, but I don't believe either of them choose to play basketball.
I can totally see Chris in a basketball outfit.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
You really don't. You aren't vibing with it, are you?
I'm not vibing. Not with them in High School Musical. I'm gonna have to be someone different.
Okay, well, High School Musical. Ooh, you know who I'm gonna cast? I need to pull up the cast list because I need to get their names right.
I've just had an amazing thought for Chris Singto.
Okay.
I know you're gonna hate it. Right? 10 Things I Hate About You. And have Singto being Heath Ledger's character and Chris being Kat Stratford.
Oh, interesting. I would have thought you'd want it the other way around.
I know, that's why it's interesting, because I think Singto could be he could be, with the right styling, a little bit of a...
cheeky chappy.
Right. And I think Chris could do the whole I hate men thing really well. Do you know what I mean?
I will let you have that if you really want it.
If anyone's seen 10 Things I Hate About You, tell me if you can see my vision, because I totally think that would be...
Okay, so going back to High School Musical.
Oh yeah.
I want Gabriella to be... Oh!
No, tell me, what was your...
It might be a bit controversial because they're from different couples but in the same series. But
interesting, okay.
There might be a weird height difference going on, but I don't really...
That's fine.
Don't really mind that.
What, like the opposite way round? Like, you think that... Okay. No, I like
so that. I want Troy to be Boss, who plays Cal in Oxygen. I think he has that winning smile that, Zac Efron had for that role. And then for Gabriella, I want Supernut, who plays Solo. And yes, it'll be a bit visually confusing, but they can both sing very well. They both sing in the series. And I think they would have a really cute dynamic. I
can see that. I've been totally going off just the looks and acting. I haven't been thinking about the other skills at all. I like that you've taken singing into consideration. I do think that's important for a musical.
Should we just go... We mentioned it already, so let's just go with Brokeback Mountain.
Okay. So I think it needs to be two people who are capable of doing very hard-hitting emotional stuff, but also who are quite masculine in their build.
They need to come across as hetero. That's the whole premise of it. Which I would usually say Big Earth, but we've already cast him enough.
We've given him too much work already.
We've given him too much.
Big Earth could be good though, but
I do see him in a cowboy hat. I know you haven't seen Oxygen, and therefore you don't really understand yet.
I'll just hype up whatever you say.
I kind of want to see Solo's dad.
Okay, all right. No, right.
You need to look him up.
I'll look him up now.
Because I did a whole thing on Instagram about how Solo's dad is actually really hot. And this is in context of a BL dad. Usually the BL dads are dads, normal dads. But when Solo's dad turned up, wow, that was
what does he look like?
Very mixed emotions, because you're meant to not like him, but he's very attractive. Him? Yes.
He looks like he's 30 years old.
Exactly.
There is no way that this man...
Exactly. And he is 30 years old as an actor. He's in his early 30s.
What? It's really good likeness, though.
Mm-hmm,
They've got really similar,
Right.
noses and lip
mouth,
shapes.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I kind of, I'm into... Because they're meant to be Heath Ledger's meant to be a bit older, so I can see him in that.
Okay, so we've cast Solo's dad as one of them. Let me raise you. Tarn's dad, affectionately known by us as Markiplier, because he looks like the giant Markiplier. What do you think?
Yeah.
How
old is he?
Well, he also looks like he's probably in his, mid-30s, but...
Oh, so he's going to be Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yeah, but he's a man. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? He's a handsome dude.
He's a man.
He's a man.
Oh
he
my
also
God.
looks like he's the same... He probably is the same age as Mew. Come on. He's just got
I know,
a beard,
right?
so...
It's so bizarre that Mew's 29 and...
Yeah, and I mean, his family are definitely
the same age.
same age as him, for sure.
Alright, cool. Solo's dad and
Tarn's dad
in Brokeback Mountain.
Wow.
Here we go. This is the fucking series we need to write.
Oh, what a perfect way to round it off. That was just a genius casting on our part, I think.
You need to watch Oxygen.
I do need
so
to watch
you
Oxygen.
can start getting all these references.
Yeah, I have to say, I mean, I do think that Solo's dad from that one screenshot I've seen looks like an attractive man. What a great fan cast we've just
honestly, what this just proves to me is that we need to be casting directors.
Yeah. And writers.
And writers. And
producers.
And directors.
And directors.
And actors. Amazing.
Good job, us. I think we did, for a game that we sort of pulled out of the air at the last minute, I think we actually did a really good... I think we've come up with some great ideas.
Oh, fully.
Tell us if you agree.
Let's go off and, brainstorm right now.
Yeah, make them real.
So we also run TyBL memes over on Instagram, and our podcast-specific account is That's Such BL Podcast, where you can follow us for updates and extra content. So you'll be able to listen to future episodes on our Instagram, That's Such BL Podcast, on IGTV, or you'll be able to find it on any major podcast platform like Apple Music, Spotify, or just the podcast app that you use. Thanks so much for listening.